Well, my name is Sandro D'Elia. I was the project officer of HiPEAC from 2014 to 2012, I believe. And what Mercedes said made me remember something. Looking at my notes from 2014, I saw something I wrote in a review report. The HiPEAC community is very gender biased, a lot of men. HiPEAC is doing active actions to attract more women, like there were events where women did not pay, things like that. But nevertheless, the number of participants in the network is still, women are still a very small minority. Then, after a while, I went to the HiPEAC conference, and I noticed that the demographic had not changed. So the average participant was male, bearded, with glasses, using VI to take notes because Word is not for real men. But it was the first time that in the conference there were all the big stands, the stands of the big companies, Google, DeepMind, Huawei, Microsoft, they were all there. And in the stands there were a lot of pretty girls giving out brochures and job application forms, So I understood that gender balance in computing probably is a lost battle, but I mean, there is a lot of talent in HiPEAC. And what impressed me always is the sheer amount of talent, in the sense that if you need to know something from the European Commission point of view, you need to understand something about some digital technology, anything from quantum to whatever, you ask Koen will not know, but it will say, okay, I check in the network and somebody who has just published a paper on it certainly is available. The talent is not only on technical details, but also on looking how the technology is evolving, what we see in the HiPEAC conference. And now, this is very important because the world is changing. This is not new. The world has been changing since the Big Bang. But now there is something important. If you think about it, the European culture, which has been the dominating culture in the world for several centuries, is losing ground. So if you look at the Bollywood movie, often you don't understand it because it's based on a different mythology, different characters, different way of thinking, and so on. Because they don't share our history. They have not studied, classical history and so on. They have a different set of values. The same is valid, for example, for the Chinese. If you look at the advertising of Chinese cars for their internal market, they compare the luxury car to a Mercedes Maybach or whatever, and they don't say our car is cheaper. They say our car is better. So there is the idea that they are something different, better than all the dominating culture. And the third thing that I want you to think about is that the study of English globally is going down. Because, of course, think you are a young boy from Iran. You probably will never in your life have anything to do with the Anglo-Saxon world. Why should you spend the time studying English? You study Russian, you study some other language which is more useful. So it's a bit like in the time when at the end of the Roman Empire, when the old classical culture was substituted by the Christian culture. It's really a tectonic change. And the important thing is that technology has a huge role in this. Also, this is not new, because technology has always been important. Think that Europe colonized the world because there was a better shipping technology. Spain could send a ship to South America, but the Mayans, which were a very advanced society, had not the same technology. Otherwise, probably the story would have been different. They were not able to make a ship that could sail all the way to Europe. So now the technology which is important is the one we know, the one which allowed us to pay our bills, to build our careers, digital technology. And what is depressing is that if you look at the Las Vegas, the CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, you see wonderful technology, and most of that is completely useless. Or maybe is either gadgets, things like that, or things that are useful for somebody to make a lot of money, but do not improve the quality of life of people, do not improve the life of our planet. And so I believe, my humble opinion is that HiPEAC has a very important role now, because you are the community that can push, can also steer the European Union policy towards developing technology which is useful for humans and useful for the planet. I mean, Matteo made some very important examples of things they are developing here, but we don't need artificial intelligence to make fake videos. We need artificial intelligence to solve the problem of global warming, to allow 8 billion or maybe 10 billion humans living on this planet in a reasonable way. This is the kind of things in which HiPEAC can help a lot. And especially for the environment, I mean, this is a bit in the history of HiPEAC. You have always been working on the environmental aspect. I remember a long time ago, Koen de Bosker told me that he was very happy because in Ghent, they were building, in Dutch they say fietssnelweg, that is a highway for bicycles. No? So very good bike paths where you could go fast, protected from the cars and so on. He was very happy, very excited. Hey, now every day I go to the office in bicycle, think how much CO2 I save, it's good for the environment, good for my health and so on. Then a couple of weeks ago I had to ask him something, and I called him. It was the time when you had still office phone. You remember those things with the cable in the wall? No, you called the people in the office. I was not in the office. Somebody answered me and said, no, Koen is not here because he's in the hospital. He had an accident with a bike. So this tells us that fighting for the environment is never free, but it is something that is mandatory. It's something we have to do. I mean, I just got a grandson. He's been born a few months ago, so very likely he will see the 22nd century. Think how the world will be in the 22nd century. The choice is even also ours. I mean, it can be a world where there are very few people, very rich, which control everything. It can be a world where a lot of people are happier, and most of what we do depends now on technology, on the technology that you develop. And that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much.